Now I would like to invite Professor Yan that will share some of his experiences at EBAPE as a master PhD student and now as a professor. Thank you indeed, Professor Yan.
Thank you. Thank you all. Um, okay. Thank you, Ricardo. Really nice to see so many familiar faces and some new ones. Well, the idea, Ricardo asked me today to share a bit about my experience here. Today I am a professor, assistant professor of marketing here. But before I did my PhD and my MSc program here at EBAPE. So I'd like to share a bit about that. But before going into the details, let me talk a bit about myself. So as I mentioned, I am assistant professor of marketing. I'm also the coordinator of the Center for Behavior Research. As Professor Ricardo mentioned, we have several different centers here. I coordinate the one focused more on the behavior sciences. So the idea is that we derive insights from behavior research, behavior economics, so that we can improve societal welfare. So we have several different projects, some of them focusing on, for example, public health. As you may know by now, COVID-19, one of the most important factors during the COVID-19 pandemic was the vaccination hesitancy, for example. And then we try to understand what were some of the factors underlying this hesitancy, for example. So it was not only a medical issue, it was also a behavioral one, right? Also, we have projects on, for example, healthy diets. We have a severe crisis when it comes to obesity. Many of the problems are related to the food industry. Many of these problems are also related to the behavior of people, right? So we try to understand what are the behavior aspects that underlie these negative social circumstances and try to understand how we can improve social welfare through behavioral sciences. But again, I'm not here to talk about my current status. I'm here to talk about my previous experience as an MSc and a PhD student. So I divided this into three main topics. The first one is harnessing academic skills. And I'm gonna share with you why I think EBAPE is so important to harness these skills. The first one is related to English. So as you may know, all the classes are taught in English. So you're expected to both participate in classes and also write all the assignments in English. And this is important because most of the academic conferences, academic papers, and so on and so forth, they are in English. So basically researchers, they communicate in English. And when you learn on a daily basis to speak the language, you become more comfortable with it. And then you more easily navigate these environments. This was particularly important for me because I never had experience of having a class in English except for proper English classes. So it really helped me develop these skills. And I was pretty comfortable when I got into international conferences, when I had to write papers and so on and so forth. Second aspect is related to the methods classes. So here we have more than 5 statistical courses. We have machine learning courses. We have also qualitative methods courses. So it is a pretty method-oriented school. And this is really important for us to be able to develop a large toolkit of abilities for us to implement and for us to be able to communicate with different areas of research. So you are able to read papers from different disciplines, even though they use completely different methodologies, right? One key aspect here is that professors, they are very cognizant that students have heterogeneity when it comes to their statistical background. Some of you are very familiar with the concepts. Some of you are not necessarily familiar. So they try to make sure that everyone is on the same page and that you move forward together and try to grasp all the necessary concepts. So second aspect is related to the strong methodology. This is also a very interdisciplinary group. So we have people from political science, we have people from public administration, marketing, consumer behavior, also finance. So people from all different areas. And this is really interesting because it gives you an opportunity to not only get access to the methodologies that the different areas use, get to know it better, and also perhaps implement it in your area, but also to get a sense of the different theories used in the different areas. So it gives you kind of insider information about each of these different areas and get to know how to communicate and navigate these different environments, and perhaps use it in your own research. Also, we have a top-notch team of researchers here. Developing research from the scratch is pretty difficult. So one aspect that really helped me out throughout the process was having a pretty collaborative environment. So I got to collaborate and eventually published with my advisors. And this really helped me out throughout the whole process. So it's not only a matter of you developing your dissertation and defending the thesis, it's also an idea of mentorship. So they're really concerned about what are the necessary skills they need to develop for you to flourish in the academic environment, and what are the projects that are more interesting for your pipeline that would be more appealing for your placement in the end of the day as well. Okay. Then moving on, access to resources is also a pretty good asset here at EBAPE. So as I mentioned, it's pretty difficult and it's pretty time consuming for us to develop research from the scratch. So it is important that we have enough time to dedicate ourselves to the program. But for us to be able to dedicate time to the program, we also need to have the resources to do so. And one important aspect here at EBAPE that is pretty different from many other schools is that they offer scholarships for all full-time students. And it really guarantees, reassures that we'll be able to pursue the academic career. Also, we have the opportunity to act as teaching assistants. So basically, mostly when we finish some of the courses and those that we have more familiarity with, that we are more experts on, we'll tend to serve as teaching assistants, meaning we'll help professors in the organization, also the teaching of those courses, or we'll serve as research assistants, meaning that we'll collaborate with the professor that hires you in the specific research project that you and the professor is interested in. So this is another way of earning additional resources. Also, there is plenty of funding for research here. So many times it's expensive for us to develop research, be it in the consumer behavior area, in the finance area, public administration area. So making sure that we have the resources to conduct research is pretty important. And here we have plenty of access through grants and internal grants, as external and internal grants as well. But it's not only about money, right? It's also about access to networks, access to partnerships. So here we have access to influential networks that might grant access to different data sets that might be really important for us. And also to important partnerships. So just to give you an example, I was particularly interested in understanding why people did not donate blood. We have this long-standing, this very chronic lack of blood donors in Rio and worldwide. And then we were able to develop a partnership with the MOHIO. So had access to the institution, and FGV was a cornerstone in establishing the partnership, okay? Finally, we have, as I mentioned, it is really important that we participate in conferences. Some of these conferences are domestic, some of these conferences are international. One really important aspect here is that we have funding for many of these conferences. So if you are a PhD student, you have funding that you can use many of those conferences. If you are an MSc student, there are some conferences, mostly domestic ones, that are funded. And it gives you an opportunity of having access to other top-notch researchers, understanding what is the current state of affairs in academics. So getting to know more cutting edge research both in Brazil and abroad. Also, I had the opportunity to go to an exchange program. So some of you know it as Doutorado Sanduíche in the University of Toronto. I spent 1 year there. Many people go to different schools. And what is really important is that EBAPE offers you not only the resources to do so, but also access to influential networks, right? So one important aspect here is that we are able to get in contact with researchers from University of Toronto, for Emory, from Harvard, from several different schools, and then we can establish this contact and then go study. I spent 1 year, others spent six months, so it really depends on personal issues in that case, okay? And then finally, don't want to take too much time so that we have time to learn from our students and then get a first-hand access to what we're doing here. Is about placement. So just to give you a sense, first of all, what are the perspectives for MSc students? So assuming that those who want to pursue a PhD, many of us decide to pursue a PhD at EBAPE for the reasons I just mentioned. So it's pretty good school, pretty collaborative environment. I myself decided to pursue this first path, but mainly decided to pursue the second one. So for those of you who decide to pursue a PhD abroad, many recent experiences, so our students have gone to schools such as Harvard, others went to Duke, some of them went to University of British Columbia. So many good cases in terms of placement for MSc students. Then, sorry guys. Then for those who already have a PhD degree, there are some that decide to stay in Brazil for personal, professional reasons. We have professors that are currently at UFRJ, UERJ, INSPER, ESP, so FGV São Paulo. We have others like myself who are here at EBAPE. But for those who decide to pursue a career abroad, we also have people in the Imperial College in the United Kingdom. We have people at ESEG, School of Business in France. We have people at Oxford, also in the United Kingdom. So all this to illustrate that besides being a place in which you can really harness your skills, where you have the resources to conduct the type of research they are more interested in, it also leads researchers to have a really good placement in the end of the day. Okay, so this is what I had to share with you today. If you have any specific doubts or you want more inside information that I can share you, I'll be more than happy to do so. Okay, so now I think I need to lead the floor to our students.
Thanks a lot. Well, thank you, Yan, again once more. And here we also have Professor Aline that graduated from a PhD. And today she coordinates the professional master in public administration. So Aline, you will be available during coffee later on. So if any of you would like also to hear from Professor Aline, she will have a pleasure to share her thoughts with you.